there's a usefulness to anything that we experience, and it's up to us to figure out how to utilize that.
Like if I'm insecure at this moment, there's a reason why I'm insecure. Maybe because I actually do suck at it and I should get better.
What's something that frustrates you with the fitness industry?
This sounds really mean, but like people trying to be like motivational, and you can just tell that's not who they are.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for taking part in this immersive listening experience. A meaningful existence is a moving target that, no matter how close, will always be out of reach. We hope this message finds you with an outstretched hand. As we attempt to uncover complex truths, remember, life's toughest questions can be answered if we all just focus on one thing: being good people.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Today, I was joined by a good friend of mine. His name is Austin Garber. He owns a personal training gym in Chico, California. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff, including starting and building out his new personal training gym, his weird love of fishing, and we also talked about both of our experience as young fitness professionals. I hope you guys enjoy the conversation as much as I did. Austin, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for doing this. You ready to get started?
I'm ready.
I hope this sounds a bit more like a conversation with a friend than anything. I think that we have like a very similar experience with our jobs, probably. Maybe you more so than me in some ways, but it's really easy for me to understand where you're coming from because we're both young fitness guys.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely talk a bit about that. But I actually don't know this about you, but let's just go with like how you got started in fitness and I guess your background with working out, what it is that you do.
So I own a gym here in California. It's the first one in franchise history, which we're pretty excited about. It's called Greenlight Personal Training. So we're like the bottom of the barrel. We're the second franchisees in this whole franchise, which Dave and Scott from PTL started. So we're like ground level. It's pretty exciting. It's gonna be pretty sick.
Yeah, cool. But even like beyond that, when did you start working out? Like you?
Oh, I started working out when I was like 13, 14, just for football. Like get better, get stronger, faster.
Okay. And what is like a synopsis of your, I know it's like bodybuilding-esque stuff, but is that what you've always done?
So I've always been like, I like to train athletic, but I like to look like, like you can like, you know what I mean? Like still look like a bodybuilder, but still be able to like dunk and like run and like fun stuff like that.
Do
So
backflips.
I've transitioned slowly into like more bodybuilding. So I really don't play sports anymore. So I really don't feel like getting hurt owning a gym. So
yeah, I 100%, dude. All my working out, I feel great. And then I do jujitsu and I get hurt like every 3 weeks.
Yeah, no.
It's terrible.
I'm good at that.
Is that how you like train your clients? Sort of a bodybuilding style?
Kind of almost like rehab-ish, I guess, the beginning, a lot of body weight stuff, then slowly transition into kind of like bodybuilding, powerlifting. I don't do any CrossFit.
Okay. Yeah. No worries. Yeah. I always joke I'm like the most anti CrossFit coach there is. And it's not because I don't believe in CrossFit. It's that I'm always trying to look for ways to prove it wrong. And then I'm like, oh, it worked again. And then not like, so this is my means of helping people.
Yeah.
I know a little bit about this, but I would love for you to share a little bit about the why do you want to help people? What's the clientele that you work with?
So most of my clientele is single moms or moms, because I grew up with a single mom. My dad left when I was 6, so I've had a single mom my whole life, pretty much. I didn't really think I had a dad since I got older. I was like, oh, he was actually there for 6 years, part of my life, but I really don't count that. So that's who I love to train. That's who I like to talk to and help with their struggles, because I've seen it, I lived it, so it's easier for me to connect.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing it for?
So for the moms, probably last 2 years.
Okay, cool. And I know you guys, like you said, you're opening up this personal training gym, Greenlight. Is that going to be geared towards that clientele? I guess I just don't know what that model is. Is this a gym where anybody can go to, or are you just taking on the one-on-one clients that you have?
So it's literally what PTL does, but as a gym. Like it's their PTL model as a gym, pretty much. All high ticket, like 4-on-1 trainer for each hour. So really
Okay.
high accountability, kind of like what you do for your high ticket clients.
Okay.
But
Cool.
whole gym of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So like people listening, a small group of people, 4-on-1, meaning like coach to one client, or 4 clients, one coach.
Oh, 4 clients on one coach. Yes.
Gotcha. So small group of individuals working with one coach, each with a very specific program for their very
Exactly.
specific needs. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Exactly.
I would love to know about this. What is the process like to build out a gym?
I don't. This might sound egotistical, but I didn't think it was that hard. Well, I also have like the franchise behind me, and my partner, he has a really successful kickboxing gym here in town. So maybe I just got really lucky, but I didn't think it was that hard. Just more annoying that it took like a long time for construction and stuff. But no,
Yeah.
not hard. Not hard at all.
Okay. I think what you're saying is something that I have probably in my adult life, anything I've ever done, I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't know if I'm going to be capable of doing this thing. And then this has happened my whole life. When you go from elementary school to middle school, everybody's like, yo, be careful. It's going to get real serious when you get to 6th grade. And then you get to 6th grade and then you go through middle school and you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. And then the same thing happens in high school. Everybody says, hey, high school, it's going to get real. College, it's going to get real. The adult world is going to get real. And then you get there and you're like, oh, this isn't really that big of a deal. It's just like stuff that you have to get done that
100%.
Annoying is the perfect word. It's just an annoyance. Like, oh, got to put the floors in today, or
Yeah.
oh, I got to build the rig or whatever.
I remember growing up and I used to be so scared of like being an adult. I was like, because people around me, I didn't think, and I look back and they're like just big victims in my opinion. So they had like this projection on me, like, oh, the world is going to get really hard. You're going to have to actually go to work and pay for your own stuff. Now that like I'm here, I'm like, this shit, it's not that hard. I think it's easier.
Yeah, I think it's easier. Do you ever miss being young though?
No, I don't at all.
Okay. Do you think, and feel free to kind of just like riff on it. Do you think that could be like maybe your childhood was rough with, your mom, and I don't know, like, what did that feel like for you?
I was still to this day, I was an angry person, angry kid for sure. A really angry kid. Like, and I now to this day I still use that to my advantage. But I didn't think I had a bad childhood. Like once I talk about it, I look back, I'm like, oh shit, it probably wasn't the best. But when you're in it, you're in it. You don't know anything else. Like it's bad, but you don't know. Like you make the best out of it. So that's why I think I got such an advantage going in life. Like we made everything work. We figured the fuck out. So that's why I have such an advantage, I think, in like real world now. Like you just figure it out. That's it. That's all you got to do is just figure it out.
Yeah, you said like use anger to your advantage. How do you do that?
So like maybe anger at myself. Like have you ever seen a documentary like The Last Dance?
Yeah, I've seen The Last Dance.
And he's like, oh, I took that personal.
Yeah.
I take a lot of stuff personal. Like even if they don't mean it personal, I just use it to like my advantage, like keep me pushing, keep me going. Like as corny as that sounds, and like everybody says that, like I just little conversations in my head. Like somebody would say, oh, you're not the best trainer, like when I was younger. And I just keep that in my mind as I grow up and get better. Like a fun story. So in high school, I played football. I was gonna go to college. I had a group of people that made like a fake Instagram about me, and it said Austin sucks wieners. It was a whole Instagram of like them making fun of me, like a whole Instagram from my whole high school. I told my mom when I get older, it sounds really bad, but I told my mom when I get older and be successful, I'm gonna buy their parents' house or I'm gonna buy their house and they're gonna rent from me. So I'm like I get back at them. So it's like kind of that little stuff that I tell myself in my head.
Yeah, I think, man, I'm definitely not as I know a lot of guys, and there's a mindset there that is it almost feels very hustle culture,
Yeah.
Which I'm not knocking at all. That's not my personality. I'm a very easygoing. Whatever happens, happens. I don't blow anything up too big, and I don't really get too low.
Yeah.
Um, but I think there's something to that in terms of you're taking this negative thing, anger in this case, and you're kind of flipping it in a positive way. Um, I've been reflecting on this idea a lot. We label everything good and bad, and this is good, this is bad, and that's it's not a silly thing to do, but it makes us think in this very binary way, meaning there's a line, and if it's over it, it's good. If it's over the other way, it's bad. Where none of that matters. It's a good thing to do is to just look at something and try to find something useful from it. Anger is a good example.
Yep.
I can relate to you a lot with anger. For whatever reason, when I get in a mood, I'm just mad and nobody can do anything. I'm just angry. And what I can take out of that is when I'm angry, I'm motivated. I have this energy that pushes me an extra step. Maybe it's training hard, or maybe it's working a little bit longer, or whatever. And on the bad side of that, quote unquote, what we label bad is outbursts, maybe taking it out on other people. What's useful from anger is that positive spin on it, where you kind of use it to channel other things. And what's not useful is the quote unquote negatives. And so I think it's good. Like, we can't just chalk anger up to being bad, or any other negative thing up to being bad and just do away with it. There's a usefulness to anything that we experience, and it's up to us to figure out how to utilize that.
I think a lot of my anger comes from like insecurity, because I didn't have that father figure to like reinforce like really good confidence in myself. So I take everything personal. I take it as an attack, and I use it, but it's most likely because I'm probably insecure. I'm not confident when I was younger as a trainer. So that's probably why I use it as anger, because I'm insecure.
Do you feel like that's something that you will or want to like overcome?
I don't think it's bad. I think it's a good guideline for your life at times. Like, if I'm insecure at this moment, there's a reason why I'm insecure. Maybe because I actually do suck at it and I should get better, right? But I don't know if it's bad yet. I don't know yet if it's bad, quote unquote bad.
Yeah, and it reminds me a lot of, this is a little different, but everybody says, "Oh, I've got ADHD," or I got ADD, or name anything, and it's almost seems like it's a popular thing to say now.
Yep.
Which is really bizarre to me. Like, why are we saying that these quote unquote like problems, or OCD is another one. It's like, no, you're not actually OCD. Like, when you're really OCD, you dread the idea of going home because you're going to have to like flip the lights 20 times before you go to bed, or,
Yeah.
straighten all the cans 6 times. And we turn these problems and we spin it and say, I don't even know how I got on this track, but to your point, it's another example of labeling things as good and labeling things as bad. With where you said you don't know if it's bad yet, I've been thinking about that a lot. Like, and this kind of touches on the idea that you and I are both very young in our fields.
Yeah.
And when people ask me stuff or observe stuff about the way that I maybe do things, my answer lately has been like, I'm not sure yet. Like, I've got to do this for a couple more years before I find out. That's something that I've always noticed that you have, and I really have respected it, because I feel the same way. When people are like, "Oh, you're doing so well for your age," I'm like, "Well, hold on. Let me do this for like 5 more years, and then we'll talk about it."
Yeah.
What's your experience with that? How do you feel when people are like, I'm sure people say you're doing so well for your age. Like, what is your thought process response when people say that?
I always think it goes back to like, well, I could be doing better. I feel like there's always somebody younger than me that's went through worse than me doing better than me. And I know it's bad to compare, but sometimes I think it's good to compare too. It keeps you driven. So like, if people say that to me, like same as you, is like, I don't know yet. I don't think I'm good. Maybe I'm good compared to like the average person. Yeah. But I don't want to be average. So why am I comparing? Like, why are you comparing me to the average 23-year-old? Like, something like that. So sometimes I don't even tell people my real age, because then they'll look at me different, talk to me different. won't have me the same respect as they would like somebody older. So it's weird.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And is it guilt? I feel guilty sometimes. Like I would say I probably don't have the business professional success as much as I think on like the physical side of things, I am well versed in my craft. I understand specifically Olympic weightlifting very well and just movement in general. Like I love the performance side of things and I spend a lot of time dedicated to improving that. And I've done, and this, I did the 100 miler. That's a really impressive thing, I think, for a 22-year-old guy to do. And I've done a couple other ultra marathons in the past. And usually I get those comments revolved around my professional goals and some of that quote unquote athletic achievements that I've done. I wouldn't consider myself very athletic, but I feel guilty when people tell me you're doing so well for your age. I'm like, I don't deserve it yet. Like, hold on.
I can feel that too. Like almost like you feel like somebody's gonna like wake you up one day and be like, hey, this ain't your life, dude. You go back to being a regular 23-year-old, 22-year-old. You don't deserve it yet. You haven't quote unquote put in the 10,000 hours that everybody talks about. I feel that too.
Somebody's gonna find out.
Yeah, somebody find out you're a phony.
What is, I guess back to that question again, how do you respond? Like, what is your, obviously you probably say thank you. That's what I say. But my opinion on the matter is praise doesn't matter. And at the same time, critique doesn't matter. Now, getting feedback is good and we should listen to feedback and we should apply it if it's productive, but the feedback doesn't matter as much as the work matters. And that's what I always tell myself. Like, doesn't matter, get back to work. Doesn't matter, get back to work. Because I know when I'm 35 or 40, everything I do in my life now, which is kind of weird to say, I think about from the lens of like, oh, I'm going to be 40 years old one day. And when I'm 40, I'm going to be like, oh, hopefully I'm going to be 80 one day. And obviously we don't know. I don't know. I could get hit by a Hyundai on my way out of here.
Yeah.
But this lens of longevity makes me very comfortable with being able to sort of strap in and play the long game. And this is, I don't want this to sound like a hustle productivity thing or even making it. It's just like a human thing. I'm going to be just fine no matter what happens, no matter what anybody says to me, good or bad. I'm going to be 40. I'm going to have kids and they're not going to care about anything that I've ever done except being dad or whatever.
Yeah. I think I have that realization too. Cause I think about it like, cause we're young, we want so much, we want to be so successful. Then I look back, I'm like, when I'm like 80, would 5 million compared to 10 million really matter that much? Like, would that really matter? So I'm like scared at times. Like, am I not spending enough time with my mom or my girlfriend or my family or friends? Like, I'm scared of that sometimes. And maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But all I know I'm doing is like trying my best this day. I'm trying to do what makes me happy in this moment to this day. But I'm same boat. I'm scared that I'm gonna look back and I'm like, fuck, I wasted all my 20s grinding, I guess.
Have you ever talked to them about that?
No, I don't take advice from people that like I don't look up to. Not that I don't look up to my mom or my girlfriend, but like successfully in like, I guess, loving or any like relationship or religion like that. I don't look up to them as bad as that sounds. So it's hard for me to like talk about this to them because I don't look up to them.
I see what you're saying. Not in the sense of like, you're considering their feelings, but you're not asking for them on advice on what to do with your business.
Yeah, exactly. So that makes sense. So I guess I do talk to them at times and I think they understand. I stole this from Alex Hormozy and he talks about like seasons in your life and they understand this season right now, I'm not going to be around. This is like the grind season. I'm here to be like this is my dream to open a gym, and they understand that, which I love a lot. So they understand. I have talked to them about that. Like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not a social person going to family events or going to birthday parties. I don't want to do that right now. That won't make me happy. Building a business is going to make me happy in this season of my life.
Yeah, dude, I came to this realization not long ago, a couple weeks ago. I wrote it down in my journal. And are you familiar with like periodization for athletic performance?
Yeah.
I think you should periodize your work and your family and your relationships. And I mean, it's exactly what you just said, just in a different language. Right now, I'm going to spend the next 12 weeks focused on this podcast. 12 weeks from then, I'm going to focus on training for, I don't know, a 50-mile run. I'm going to then do a weightlifting competition. But I used to always say I wish I could have a lot of part-time jobs when I was growing up because I have so many interests, and I have this curiosity that I can't ever make stop. It's like, that's literally one of the reasons why I train people. I was training a dentist the other day literally yesterday, and he was telling me about like sinus lifts and how you have to like put incisions on the gum. And I'm just like, tell me more about this thing that I'm not going to need to know at all. But I was just interested in it. And that sort of periodize your work is a way to just stay curious of, okay, I'm really, 12 weeks, I think in terms, you can't build a business in 12 weeks. This might extend years and years, but having slight focus shifts, changing the scenery, going and doing something else, nurturing a specific relationship, back and forth is a way to keep things fresh and fun, and in my experience, avoid burnout.
100%. I agree with that 100%.
I can't tell you, dude, when I did my 100-miler, I said this leading up to my 100-miler. When I did my 50-miler, what I did was I trained for a year and a half, and after my 50 miles was done, I was so sick and tired of running that I didn't run for 2 years. I started running again to train for my 100-miler, and the whole time I was like, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to make sure I stick with it afterwards. I ran 100 miles 7 months ago, and I've run like 7 miles since. And when you just dedicate so much to something, at least for me, I'm done with it afterwards.
I agree. I'm in the same boat.
How do you avoid that for you, like with a business? I feel like as a gym owner that you can't afford to do that.
I think my quote unquote why is so big right now. Like my why is I'm good. My goal is I'm going to retire my mom before I'm 26. So I got through, I guess, 2 years and like a couple weeks, right, to retire my mom. So that's been my goal since I was 7. So that's why I think I don't burn out because of this. And it's fun. Like it's really like you almost like sometimes you might not sleep, and that's like the funnest at times. Like it's like a real grind.
You and I are different, dude. I love sleeping. I guess my question is, that was actually something that I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah.
I feel like just talking to you, you like business more than you like fitness.
100%. Yeah.
And that's awesome. I am not like that. When I started coaching, I was in love with it. And then I started doing these extra administrative things to like help the gym out that I work for. And I hate that stuff. And I do it because it's part of my job. But there's nothing less that I would want than to run a gym by myself. Like,
yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah. I think I got this from Alex Hormozy too. I'm a big Alex Hormozy fan. And he said, once you feel the hard, just accept it. Like, this is what it's supposed to feel like. And this is where people quit. So I have to keep reminding myself that in like the moments that sleepless nights, like those next weekend, I'm going to be putting the rubber floors in by myself, setting up all the equipment. I'm probably not going to sleep a lot for the next couple of days. But it's like, that's exciting. Like, this is where the average person just quits and gives up. And like, once I get past that, then there's going to be probably another weekend I don't sleep. Like, that's the shit I enjoy.
I 100% agree with you. and I don't know how to articulate this yet. And I've kind of just thought about this. Mark Manson says you will only do what you are able to suffer through. Some version of that. It's probably not verbatim. I'm willing to suffer through like running a marathon on Saturday and then running 12 miles on Sunday and then doing it for a couple weeks and then running running overnight and falling asleep while you run. That's hard.
Yeah.
That sucks really bad. But I'm willing to suffer that. The other stuff, the administrative tasks of running a business, that I'm not willing to suffer through. I don't like how it feels when I haven't slept in 2 days and I'm running through the mountains and I see a bobcat that's not actually there, but I'm willing to suffer through it. Like, what is that called?
I don't know, like being a psychopath. I don't, I don't know.
No, but you're a psychopath too.
Yeah, I agree. I love it.
How do people find that? Like, that's something I constantly think about that.
Maybe they're not enough pain yet. Like maybe they haven't found something that they would be willing to lose sleep over. And I think a lot of people die and never find it. Might be scared. I think we found it though.
I don't know though. I'm probably not going to run ultra marathons forever.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing. Ultra marathons for me is the same thing as what we were just talking about. It's this thing that will pop up in my brain every 2.5, 3 years, and it's an itch, and I scratch it, and then I'm good for a couple years, and then I move on to something else. And if you ask me my why behind it, I don't know, dude. I don't know why I do them. I don't know. What it gives me is an underlying peace.
Yeah.
In my life that I'm, and I'll touch on this too. For me growing up, I was really unconfident in myself. I was overweight. I played video games all day. I wish that I was, when I say I wish that I was somebody else, I don't literally mean I wish I was somebody else. I just wish that I was in a more athletic body. I didn't know yet that you had to like put the work in to get there, that these are things that you can develop. You know, I was just young and I used to put a lot of pressure on myself and feel guilty about not being that guy. And so for me, when I run 100 miles, I'll quote Alex Hormozy because you are, build this stack of, what is it? Build this stack of proof that says, and evidence that says you are who you say you are, something like that, right? Yeah. Running 100 miles is proof that I'm a tough guy and I can persevere through stuff. And I hate running 100 miles, but I like being confident in myself, and that's why I do it, I guess.
I'm in the same boat. Luckily, when I was young, I was, I guess, complete opposite of you. I was lucky, blessed with this body and athletic since I was 2 years old, right? Just really lucky. But I always felt like it wasn't real. Like I didn't deserve it, like imposter syndrome. Like when people say, "Oh, I'm so proud of you," like football and all that stuff, I didn't feel like I deserved it at all. Like not even close. Until I started like really like training to get better. Then I feel like, oh, this is who I am. Until then. But until then, I didn't, like you said, I didn't feel like me. I feel like I was an imposter this whole time. I still do at times.
What is your, I know you said your why. I know you are clear on, I guess, your why behind what you're doing, why you're doing what you're doing. But have you given any thought to like this list of priorities in your life? Like, how do you prioritize the things that you value?
I do at times. Then I look at it, I'm like, does that really matter? Like when I'm 80, I'm like, do you think this really matters?
How do you mean? Can you explain that a little more?
So let's say I hit like everything on my list. Then I look back when I'm 80, I'm like, did you have to do all that like grinding and stuff? Did it really matter to you? That's what like kind of scares me. Like I have such big goals. And let's say I achieve them, then I'm 80. Then I look back when I'm 23 right now and I didn't live in the moment. Would I be mad at myself that I didn't live in the moment and only cared about reaching those goals? That's what I think about.
Gotcha. You're going to regret not investing more in your relationships than your business.
Yeah. But I'm more happy chasing the business right now than anything else in my life.
Like I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I used to think about that all the time. Why am I doing this? It just feels like the right thing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And whether it's your business or for me, it's this podcast. It's just one of those things that feels like the right thing to do. I like doing it. It's fun. I don't necessarily have any goals for it specifically, but just feels like the right thing to do. So here I am. We're talking.
I agree. I completely agree.
Do you feel, and this is like, I guess maybe last question on being young. I know we talked a little bit about guilt or imposter syndrome or whatever you want to call it. Do you feel pressure to do well from others because you're young? Or do you feel less pressure because you're young?
I feel way less pressure because I'm young. Way less. And it makes
Why
me
is that?
because I think they compare us to like younger people. Like even in other masterminds, I had a conversation with the head guy, and I can tell he like doesn't push me as hard as he pushes the other people just because I'm young. I didn't like that. I told him like push me like I'm in my 40s and I own a business. Like push me because of that. I think they sometimes they'll won't push us as hard because we're so young. They're like, oh, they're just kids. They don't understand yet, and I don't think that's good. I think
It's like that little add on there of like, for your age,
yeah,
you're doing well for your age. You're pretty smart for your age.
exactly.
It's like, or you could just say, I'm pretty smart. I'm doing pretty well. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. What's something that frustrates you with the fitness industry?
A lot of stuff. A lot of like I'm not really big into the fitness industry anymore like I was in high school. I look at it, it is like it's like corny to me. Like it's really corny like just watching people. You know what I mean? Not like people like doing the wrong stuff, it's like people like this sounds really mean, but like people trying to be like motivational and you can just tell that's not who they are. Like they're not walking the walk. They're just like talking to like they heard it from Alex Hormozy, read a book, and it's not real. That's like corny to me because that's not who you are.
I fear that so much, dude. Like me and you are sitting here. I have this beautifully lit podcast set. I've got this microphone that I'm talking into. I'm a personal trainer that has a podcast, and we're talking about mindset and culture, and we're quoting Alex Hormozy. Are we like everybody else?
I don't think so because we're living it. Like we are who we say we are.
Gotcha. Like
I don't think those people are.
I'm not walking into the gym and
Yeah.
like putting my little camera up and just like taking my shirt off, recording my set, and then leaving. Like I actually go and train hard.
Exactly. And again, that's on them. They can do that. That's their life. That's what makes them happy. Me, I just think it's corny. That's me though. I could be an asshole. I probably am.
Yeah, but I'm on your side, dude. I fear that a lot, and I don't know. I guess I just haven't given it a lot of thought, but I don't know. I don't know what separates me. And 100%, I think what you're saying is you're onto something with I walk the walk. I don't know if that's just it though. It still feels like there's something that I haven't thought of yet that makes me different than everybody else. And even saying that makes me kind of, oh God, don't say that. But there's something that I haven't thought of yet that maybe I'm doing or I think that is the reason why I'm not like everybody else in terms of I don't want to do this because I want to have a lot of followers and I want people to praise me.
Yeah.
I just put it on there because it's an opportunity. Maybe somebody will listen to it and get something out of it. I don't really value like the things that I can say in a minute and a half clip that is going to change it for somebody. I value my coaching. Like I value when you come to me and I teach you how to clean and jerk, or the conversation that we have while you're squatting about this thing that you had in your day that was really challenging. And so maybe that's it. I'm not sure.
I think just going in with that intention, you'll be all right. Like you'll be fine.
Yeah. Like I need to be scared.
Or just the intention like, hey, I'm not here to make money or get followers. I'm here to help somebody. And I think 99% of people on Instagram or Facebook or on the podcast industry now, their intention is to get money off the podcast or make tons of followers, anything like that. If your intention is 100% going all the way through this podcast is like, I enjoy it, it's fun to me, I want to help somebody, I think you're going to go way farther than anybody else because your intentions are real. It's really, you do selling, right? It's easy to read people. It's really easy. You can tell.
Like, yeah, when somebody's trying to do it for that, you're like, oh, next, we'll move on. Yeah. With the, I guess, kind of last thoughts on that is another thing that I think about a lot with, I don't know, it all comes back down to just like my place in the world. And I would even say what your comment was, I don't remember what you said first, but then you said, because it's fun and you want to help people. It's like, yes, I do want to help people, but I'm not even doing it for that. I just like it and it's fun. And if it does help people, that's great.
Yeah. That's it. That's your intention.
And here's something too. I don't know, again, what to call it, but the best way for me to articulate my thought process on what I find frustrating with the fitness industry is, do you know who Zach Tellender is?
Maybe. If I see a picture of him, probably.
Okay. He's like this 6'4" ginormous weightlifter guy. He does Olympic weightlifting. He's on Instagram. He worked with Derek from More Plates, More Dates on the Liver King exposure thing. And I use the term charlatan a lot in the fitness industry. Zach Tellender is like the guy that made everybody say charlatan in the fitness industry. So like snake oil salesman. And I think that if somebody comes to me and they're 100 pounds overweight, the thing that I can help them do is 10 pull-ups, because I bet if they're 100 pounds overweight, they probably can't do 10 pull-ups. And so as a fitness coach, the only thing that matters is getting them to those 10 pull-ups or whatever metric you're using to say that their fitness has improved.
Yeah.
Because what is the process of 10 pull-ups? They probably have some eating disorder issues that we need to address, and we need to teach them new relationships with food, what food means and is, and many, many, many things on the nutrition side of things. You also need to teach them how to work out and appropriately strength train, progressively overload. What does that look like? What are modifications of these movements? What are ways that we can work out? Like we could talk about all the variables of a fitness program. And then the third thing would just be like the mindset that's involved with that. You have to learn to be disciplined, persevere, stick with it, never give up on yourself. All of the corny stuff that all the fitness trainers say.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, stop right there. Get them to 10 pull-ups and their life is amazing.
Yep.
Anything else is just you inserting your ego and wanting to be the star of, look what I helped this person do. And that's what I find frustrating with the fitness industry. It's charlatans that go beyond the just helping people.
I agree. Dave talks about in PTL, we all have pretty much the exact same program. Like, it's all pretty basic stuff. We're all doing the same stuff. Like, just get your ego out of it. We're all pretty much the same, just different ways to get people there. So there's no like fancy magic that you're doing that's different. We're all doing the same stuff pretty much. Yeah.
Your 5x5 back squat is the same as doing 4 sets of 6. It's just a little different.
Yeah.
It's like a really watered down version of it, but 100% you're right. It's the same. Thinking about like your future, I know we talked about like business is something that you care a lot about. What is your long-term goal? Like, we've talked a lot about being young. Like, what do you want when you're 80? What do you want?
So I guess I just want to be, and I think it could change. I think it definitely will change. Right now, I just want to have that ability to help anybody anytime I can. Like with anything. Like, you might have had a friend or a family member that came up with like really sick and she just didn't have the money, or like the car broke down or anything like that. I just want to be able to like write a check, like, cool, here. Like, I think that's so like enjoyable for me. And it's selfish, of course, but I think that's so much more, that's like cool to me. like just helping somebody, no strings attached, maybe put in their mailbox. They don't know who I am. Like that's so enjoyable for me. And to be
And not record it and post it
yeah.
on Instagram.
Yeah. Make a reel out of it.
Yeah.
That's fun to me. Like I really, really enjoy that.
Is that it? Is that as simple as it is for you? No matter what, as long as you can help people, you know,
Pretty much. Yeah. If I have the ability to help anybody at any time, anything, like that's worth it to me.
is there anything that you're like weirdly interested in? Like that's not fitness in a gym?
I like fishing a lot. I go bass fishing a lot.
Dude, this is an unpopular opinion. I hate fishing. I like sitting on a boat and like being with my friends, but I don't like fishing. And I try to tell myself that I like fishing, but every time I go, I'm like, oh God, this sucks.
It's like really, really frustrating. I can go like a week or a month straight and not catch one fish. But like you catch like the littlest like bass or anything like this big, and like it just makes it worth it. It's like a weird feeling. Weird feeling.
I used to go fishing with a buddy of mine in high school all the time, and we knew a bunch of guys, and they would just like let us use their boats, and they lived on lakes, and we would go and fish. And dude, I got into it. Like I was rigging up my rigs. I was learning the Texas hook or the wacky rig or whatever, throwing spinners and stuff. And I don't know. It was just I just did it because everybody was doing it. I didn't actually enjoy it.
I enjoy being by myself a lot. I put my AirPods in and it's by myself. I don't go fishing with anybody else. I just like being by myself. That's probably one of the biggest reasons I like fishing.
That's why I run, or that's why I should say ran. I don't say I actively run or work out.
Yeah.
I just like being alone.
It's fun. I really, really enjoy it.
How often do you fish?
I try to fish every day.
You fish every day?
Yeah.
In the morning?
Depends when I have time. Like I have poles in my car. I go past like a pond or anything. I'm like, I got like 10 minutes. I'll just throw a couple casts. Leave.
Dude, you are into fishing.
I enjoy fishing.
No, you're into it. If you have poles in your car and you fish at every lake that you drive by, you're into fishing.
I think it's like fun, enjoyable. Like anytime I'll go somewhere new, I'm like, oh, there's a pond right there. Or I'll go on Google Maps and try to find a new pond. It's enjoyable.
The real question is, do you fish when you're on vacation?
If I have a pole with me, yeah.
You love fishing.
Same as you, I go through phases when I'm like die hard fishing. Then there's days where I don't fish at all. Just phases.
Nice. So we did this last episode, and we'll probably do it every episode. And I'm going to try to make it as non-corny as I can. And I'm only using those words because you used them. But in your opinion, and I think this is kind of what the ethos of this show is going to turn into, is this ongoing conversation of what is a good person. And I think we can all agree that there's a lot of things that make people good people. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that. What to you is a good person?
I think as time goes on, it will like change. Right now is, I don't know. I guess that's a hard question. Like just somebody that would help somebody with like no strings attached, like no expectations. Just like, hey, I'm here to help. That's it. That's all I care about. No ego, no video taking, like just help with anything. Or like somebody like sit by you when you're like struggling, like don't take a video of it. Don't talk about it to anybody. Like that kind of stuff. I think is a good person.
There's a great quote about that too. Like it's like something about watch how people treat you who you can do nothing for.
Yeah.
Is it like that?
Pretty much. Yeah. Like I don't want to like the goal, like if you asked me to be on a podcast and my whole goal was to get more clients, like I'm not a good person in my opinion. Like I'm here because I enjoy talking to you and I was excited to jump on. Like not because I want to get something from you.
Yeah. And I think I like that a lot because I asked you to be on this podcast. Number one, because I knew you'd say yes. And two, like I don't even know you that well. I've talked to you in sales calls,
Yeah.
where we were listening to somebody else talk,
Yeah.
and I just know that you're a good guy.
Thanks.
And a lot of the people that I have coming up, I know are good people. And that's why I'm excited to talk to them, because it's just a thing that they have as part of their personality that I think is attractive in the sense of the word, like appealing.
I think a lot of people that aren't good people are scared. Like scared to let their ego down, scared to get hurt. So that's why they're so protective or so mean. Like they're just looking out for themselves.
Mm. I'm gonna have to think about that for a while.
I think they're really scared.
People, can you say that a different way?
So I'll give you a scenario. Like let's say I'm really scared of like what people are gonna think of me. And I don't jump on this podcast. Like that's my insecurities. Or I attack you like, oh, your podcast sucks. You only have a couple listeners. Like that's a bad person in my opinion. Because they're so scared of let their ego down or they'll get hurt that they hurt somebody else.
I see. It's what can this person do for me? If nothing, to hell with them.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, I like that a lot.
I've always had thoughts in my head. Like I always wanted to be like that person that like ran in a burning house and nobody knew about it. Like those kind of thoughts I think about all the time. Every single time.
I think that's just being a man sometimes. I think those things too.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the hero.
Yeah, like the Alex Hormozy quote, on my grave, I want to be the person that said I gave the most. Like imagine that. Like that would be so cool.
Yeah. You wouldn't have memes about you like Jeff Bezos where it's like, how many times could Jeff Bezos feed the whole world with all the money he has?
Yeah.
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 If you had the money, you'd feed the world.
100%. Maybe not everybody, because
Yeah.
I feel like there has to be a tier. Like you got to be at least trying to get some help. You know what I mean?
High achievers.
Yeah.
You might know this. This is probably a Alex Hormozy thing. We'll just say that all this whole podcast was just Alex Hormozy ideas. The top three attributes of a highly successful people. Do you know what they are?
Yeah, the first one is super insecure, right? The first one is like you think you're better than people at times, but you're really, really insecure, so it keeps you driven. I think the last one is you have like laser focus. You can focus on one thing. Like those are the top 3 traits.
Yeah, it's insecurity with yourself. Anything I do will never be good enough.
Yep.
And you have a little bit of a superiority complex over people where you think that you're better than everybody, or like I'm different, whatever. And then the third one is you can manage your distractions well.
Yeah.
It's very easy to stay on task, not get distracted.
Yeah.
I don't have the superiority thing. I think I don't say this condescendingly. I think that I am the same as everybody else. I'm not that smart. So I definitely have this inferiority, like anything I do is never good enough, but I don't necessarily think I'm better than anybody else. And I don't know if I can focus that well, to be honest. I have a very strange way of working where it's like 10 minutes on, okay, I deserve a walk and a coffee now. So, and then 30 minutes later, I do another thing,
I've always had like this saying, like, I've always wondered why people can't see the world like the way I see it. And I think that's why I think we're different. Like, why can't anybody see the world how I see it? Like, it's not that hard. You just got to put work in. Just do these simple things and you'll be all right. So I think that's where the superiority complex.
I had that when I was younger. I don't have that anymore. And I don't know if it's a learned thing. I can vividly remember sitting in 6th grade math class. My teacher was Mrs. Giffen, and she was talking, and the way she taught was she would teach something 3 different ways. And day 1, she said, I'm going to teach it 3 different ways. Don't ask me questions till the end. If you don't understand it after the 3 different ways, you can ask me questions and I'll try to help you out. And I remember every single day I would get so frustrated with the fact that I was like, I got it the first time. I understood it before you even finished teaching it the first time. These people are idiots. Let's move on. Like, I know how to do this math. And even now, I've never said that out loud. Even now, I have guilt about how I felt back then, because I'm like, it wasn't those people's fault. They probably understand. I don't believe genius is a thing.
No.
Genius isn't a thing, because like I could kick Albert Einstein's ass, you know, like he was smart at physics, but he was probably like very underdeveloped in other aspects of his life. And you can apply that to anything. I might be talented at, I'm not even talented at running very far in the mountains. Like I go super slow, but like I might have this determination and grit that somebody doesn't have, but I don't have a level of IQ that allows me to understand astrophysics. You know, like genius isn't a thing.
I think it could be my ego too, right? That thinks I'm smarter. So I'm just saying like, let's do it. It could be bad. It could be wrong, quote unquote, bad and wrong. I think it might be a little ego too.
Yeah. Sure. And as long as you're aware of it, you know, who cares?
Yeah. But at times I do feel bad for people. Like I guess my town around me is like really like family members or friends, like they're low poverty, I guess. And I feel bad because I don't think the world's that hard. So I feel bad at times. I'm like, just literally do this and you'll be all right. So I feel bad. That it just doesn't click in their head.
You see life as a game.
100%. 100%.
And you are in control of your peace.
100%.
And the people who you feel bad for, they think that they are stuck as their piece and they aren't able to stand over to the tabletop and look at it from a big scale and move themselves around and put themselves in a different position. And there is some skills and ideas and understanding there of ownership that you have that nobody can ever give to anybody else. You have to figure it out for yourself.
100%.
And I think that's why you feel that frustration.
Almost like I look at life like GTA. You ever play GTA?
Yeah, dude.
So like that. I think life's literally like that. I won't be killing anybody. like you can build your character up. You can make as much money as you want. You can do whatever you want. I truly believe that.
Yeah. Cool, man. Let's wrap it up. I think that's a cool place to end it.
Yes.
Where can people find things from you if they want to look more into you?
They can follow my Instagram. It's Austin Garber Fitness, AustinGarber Fitness on Instagram.
Cool.
That's where I'm most at.
If you are a mother, Austin's your guy. Is that a weird thing to say?
It is weird. I don't have any guys I train. It is kind of weird.
I train mostly women. I think women want to get better.
I think they have less ego and they'll take
Men are like, no, I'll do it myself. And then they just don't.
Because I'm that guy.
Yeah, me too, bro. Cool, man. Thanks for doing this.
Of course. Anytime.
Thank you guys so much for watching or listening. If you're on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Music, please like, comment, subscribe. If you are watching us on YouTube, please follow and rate if you are on Spotify or Apple Music. See you guys next time.